way up here, Matt, from stance, he's already passed my hand from my head right into my hip, right? So I gotta stay low, keeping my head at least at the same height as his, right? So in this first drill, I'm trying to keep my head just a tiny bit lower than his. And he's trying to keep his head a tiny bit lower than mine. So it's like a race down to the bottom here. And we're staying nice and low, no contact, just moving in our stance, trying to keep our head a tiny bit lower than our partner. Does that make sense? Any questions? Whichever foot you have back, that hand's going to make contact, and now we're hand fighting, making sure that my head is staying just a little bit lower than his in this hand fight. So we're going, and I'm making sure I'm staying nice and low this whole time. If he comes up and I stay low, boom, I'm in. Right? As long as I stay a little bit lower than him in my hand fight, I've got the advantage. Does that make sense? So when I'm hand fighting, I want to make sure my head is just a tiny bit lower than his, even in this hand fight. Any questions? Circling back up. So when he shoots, I'm gonna just down block and come back up. He shoots in, down block, back up. He shoots in, down block, back up. All right. This only works if my head isn't lower than his, right? So I got to keep my head again a little bit lower than his. And now every time he shoots, I'm back up. All right. Does that make sense? Gonna down block, circle up, right in my re-attack. Alright, so when I'm down blocking, I'm not just down blocking straight back, but I'm down blocking and circling to create my angle for the attack. So again, when I shoot, I down block, circle, boom. And now I'm right into my re-attack. Does that make sense? Yeah. 1, 2, 3. So Matt's gonna start in a quad pod here. I'm just gonna go my hands right into his armpits, right? And I'm gonna get my weight on him. Again, elbows kind of pinching his head, not way out here. All right, because if they're way out here, you can just come under. So I'm gonna pinch his head here, and I can pick a direction. Whichever direction I pick, I'm gonna be pulling on the opposite arm. So if I'm going left, I'm pulling with my right arm here. All right, I'm just gonna keep pulling and stepping. And I can switch sides if I want, and boom, now I'm in on my left. All right, so I'm again just snapping, pulling, and stepping, and until I got my cradle, my leg from behind, whatever. Does that make sense? Yeah. So again, we're just snapping and pulling whichever direction we're going. We're pulling the other arm. So I'm circling left, I'm pulling right. I'm circling right, I'm pulling left. All right, and you can switch directions as much as you want until you get behind, get your cradle, get the leg, whatever you want. Any questions?
Are you doing it like a chuck?
You can. Okay. So like, if you want, you're circling really hard to get it. Yeah. Nope, you can do a chuck there. Good. That totally works. Anything else? I'm gonna keep my stance nice and low. Gonna hand fight, Matt's gonna shoot in. Right, I'm gonna down block and circle, and if he comes up, we're back in the same position. If he doesn't come up, right, and he circles with me, now I'm right in this semantic position that we were in a minute ago, and I can just keep on. And I can keep snapping until I get to my attack. Does that make sense? So a good wrestler, Matt, a good wrestler is not just gonna let me isn't just gonna let me circle and re-attack. Just give me this angle. He's gonna circle up, right? And so that's where you're going. So that's where the down block stance comes in. Whereas now I can really force that position, keep that pressure on him. And I don't let him recover in a good position, despite his best effort. Does that make sense?
Yes, Coach.
Any questions?